the perception here is that AI is built on code, then everything needs to function with code. Actually, that's one of the first misconceptions. So people believe that in their prompting, there is a certain formatting of flow. I mean, there is in terms of context, purpose, and function. But I can talk like, apa khabar hari ni? Aku nak kau tolong saya tulis saya punya email sebab bos aku tengah kejar saya. I don't have much time, okay? So just make the email snappy. This is his 10 last replies. And then you cantikkan, okay? Let me see. Enter. Literally, by just saying those things, the AI still would understand, just as you right now, audience, you're listening to me. And literally, the AI will still do your task that you have requested. And that is amazing because AI is built on large language models. So they're literally language blind. They don't care what language you're speaking, how you speak it. But your intention behind it is very important.
Welcome to the Voices of Impact, the podcast where we skip the slides and dive into the real stories behind learning and transformation. Hi, my name is Hamed.
And my name is Nadir.
Today we have a very special guest who has been working with digital tools long before AI became a mainstream thing. With a background in computer science and over a decade of hands-on training experience, he has supported more than 200 organizations across corporate, hospitality, and education sector. He is known for making complex technologies simple and practical, helping teams apply AI and digital tools immediately in their daily work. We are delighted to welcome Eugene Ng. Welcome to the show, Eugene.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Before you come to the session, we have been doing a little bit of stalking. Guilty as charged. So we came across a video of yours from 15 years ago, an interview with Astro. We were so excited to know what was it about.
OMG.
We're so curious.
15 years ago. Right. That's really long.
Yeah.
So that interview was basically done with Adam Karatis, with my partner back then, Sherman 3D. We were basically a game development company, and we were pursuing the prospect of maybe creating new games. Instead of being just a creator, why not become a publisher? So it was a discussion about all those topics back then. Really, you brought back some memories. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay. Any interviews you have done since back then to today?
Probably a few, but
Oh, you have?
I don't recall. And I don't put everything on socials.
I see.
Sorry, not that kind of guy.
Okay, all right. Great.
Yeah. He's quite humble, as you can see, right? And talking about memories, all the trainers that we have invited for interview, they have their own story on how they got into training.
Fair enough.
What is your story, Eugene?
Well, it depends if you want the short story version or the long story.
Medium, maybe?
Medium. Now you're functioning like generative AI, asking me to be prompted. Okay. So in a nutshell, when I first came into the training industry, I was invited by a friend. And he wanted me to actually train PowerPoint.
PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay.
I said the same thing. I was like, PowerPoint? You need training with PowerPoint? I was like, who needs training with PowerPoint? I mean, come on, anybody can do PowerPoint. And he said like, oh no, they're going to pay you as well if you do this training per day. I was like, oh, how much was it? So he revealed the X certain amount, which I will not reveal here because recording. And then I was like, wow, that's a lot of money per day. He's like, no, yeah, and it's for 2 days. All right, sign me up. So that was my first experience, and this was decades ago. And then when I first came into that session, I was invited into this training room, big computers back then, not like all the nice little flat screens you have today. And then when I went in there, I opened this book up and I was like, seriously, PowerPoint was like this thick, like 500 word pages. I was like, as I was flipping through it, I began to realize the error of my assumptions. There were so many things in PowerPoint even I did not know. And so the session began. Students came in, everybody was just lining up, and I was like, all right, everybody turn to page 1. We're going to go through the introductions. We're going to click on set up a new slide and click new slide. Have you turned on your PowerPoints yet? Yeah. 15 minutes in, and I was still reading from the book. Someone actually asked me, Eugene, are you going to continue reading from the book? Because if you do, we might as well just take this book home. I didn't know how to react. So I was like, okay, moving on to chapter 2, flip the page now. And I just kept reading.
Let's ignore that question. Yeah.
He got up, and little did I know that he was the manager of the organization. So yeah, somebody prominent. Oops. And everybody also got up from the same time and just went out the room with him. It was the most awkward silence I had in my life.
After just 15 minutes.
And I said, flip the next page after that. Well, I'm still getting paid by the hour, and we go. So yeah, I was in denial. But obviously, the word came out, and the owner of the establishment, the training center, called me into the office. I thought I was going to get fried. Quite interesting. And when I came into the room, he humbly approached me and said, oh, Eugene, thanks for coming. I heard what happened. Don't worry, have a seat. And I was like, yeah, okay. It's like, so we need you to understand. Sometimes in certain situations like this, clients, we have a lot and we may have a mismatch. However, trainers are hard to find. And I think you got potential because you were recommended by your friend, Jeff, right? Am I right? So I'm going to say his name, Jeff, not his full name. And I was like, okay, yes, I'm sorry, I disappointed you. He said, no, wait, we'll still pay you for today. Here's the check. We already prepared. And he prepared a cash check. He's like, here's your name and you can have today. What I suggest you to do is maybe you can catch up with Jeff and maybe get some pointers from him on how to do better training, right? And I was like, but you're still paying me. He's like, yeah. And you want me to meet Jeff? He's like, yeah. For today. So it's like, this is full check. So I was like in complete shock. And it's like, yes. So meet up with Jeff. I think you have potential and we hope to see you again. I was like, okay. I got up. I took that check and I went into the bank straight and I cashed it in running just to see if it was, and I got the money. I was like, oh, he actually paid. So I called up my friend Jeff and humbly told him and said, hey, your boss actually, told me to reach out to you. He's like, oh, yeah, what's up? What happened? Nothing. Oh, come on, what happened? I was like, oh, the whole class just got up and left. I knew it. He's like, what do you mean you knew it? But the moment, remember I called you and you said, train PowerPoint, and you said like, PowerPoint also need to train me. I knew that would happen. Then why didn't you warn me? He was like, well, you needed to learn. Oh, that's humbling. So when are you free to meet up? Oh, now you want to meet up. Okay. So I met up with him and he gave me some extremely valuable pointers from my entire life. And I began to understand, to know a subject matter does not mean you're able to teach that subject matter. And to reach out to an audience about a specific topic, you have to actually reach out to their hearts first. Mm. So my second session after the training and trials with Jeff, of course, I'll call him my seafood mentor. I came into the room again. I was re-invited. This time I got like 4-day sessions of training. And the first thing I did was I came into the room, this time that thick book, and I told everybody, all right, we're going to dump this in the trash can. And everybody, you're just going to pop up your PowerPoint and want to tell me about your amazing hobbies that you have in your life. And we're going to put that down on your presentation. Mm. And that's when everything started to change. So I began to learn that engaging was an important part of the learning process. It's not just about the content or the context, but how do you see each individual in your session, and how you grow from there, what they already know. It helps so much more in terms of the learning process. That's just how I've been running my sessions ever since. So taking all these little topics, putting it together and making people see how they can relate to it on a more personal level sometimes. That's about it.
Amazing.
That's my story.
Great, Eugene. Actually, I was going to ask you what was your so-called training before you become an AI trainer, because now we know your main expertise now is AI training, right? So I'm assuming it was PowerPoint before that?
So well, that
PowerPoint
was decades ago. And upon, of course, starting to do the training, I had to get certifications. So we had to go through Microsoft certification for Excel program, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, the works. Mm-hmm. And I started to get myself more certified, as you know, the TTT and accreditation. It started to progress more seriously. So I had to give up some passions instead of doing a work with some agencies and go full-time in training. Mm-hmm. So I had to make that shift. And I started to realize then that is when generative AI actually just came right about the right timing. So from my expertise with using Microsoft tools like Excel, Power BI, it was mostly data analysis. And I like doing data analysis because it tells you certain pinpoints of what's going on in your organization or where the money is going to. And then with AI, apparently, it exponentially increased some insights that you probably would take a long while to figure out, to connect the dots. And I thought like, wow, this tool is amazing. So a group of my trainer friends and I, we were like collaborating and say, hey, can we make this into a functional tool in an organization? Or can we create certain frameworks that people can use by writing their emails so they can churn out emails faster, especially when replying redundancies? And so that's where we started. And I come up with some frameworks. We started just running with it. Progressionally, I would say, from my experience back then, using the AI tools, learning how to prompt, giving people structure in order to use it better, safer, and also know what AI can do and what AI cannot do, actually helps out a lot. So it manages their expectations. And that's what we've been compiling ever since. So it's not like I've been an expert all this while. It's just that I've been using it so often that I can tell the little nuances that, oh, you're using Claude. Oh, that's definitely ChatGPT. Oh, that's from Gemini. And then you start to see a polarity division. People start to go like, oh, I prefer ChatGPT. I prefer Copilot. I prefer Gemini. And if you dig a little deeper, actually, there's not much difference in terms of the large language models. So I'm trying to break that barrier. So first, get people to understand that any large language model they use, whatever model, is useful and beneficial. The difference is what are the organizations who are providing it, giving their certain advantages, features. For example, are you allowed to search online or do more deep research? Or are you allowed to actually expand from that from text to just text, but text to image or text to video? What are you providing your clients' experience? So I start to summarize all of this in terms of usefulness for the office, and then we condense it down. So for office use, we should use these certain frameworks and to maintain safety and security. And then for entertainment-wise, or I would say marketing, making media, maybe these tools. And we start to segregate the free and the paid versions, which, well, actually just change from time to time. So we try to keep up. That's the basis of my foundation for training all these amazing tools that are here today.
Nice. Talking about like as you mentioned, there's so many tools out there in the market now as well, right? And like what I'm sure there are a lot of questions by your participants when you do training. What are the common questions that you always get like right before you get started with your class?
So yeah, most prominent questions I get mostly are where people ask why we put in the same prompt, but we get a different response. So that's the foundation of understanding how generative AI works. And we usually hit it off from there. And then once they understand the intrinsic little nuggets of how AI functions, they get a better grasp of it. So they have managed expectations. Because there's another word we worry that happens in AI a lot, which is called hallucinations. So we try to avoid those assumptions and biases that may cause the AI to give you inaccurate information, but may sound right, may sound real, but when you ask them for references, they say, oh, sorry, we just made that up. I'm not kidding, that can happen.
Nowadays, many organizations, many companies, they're investing in training their employees and their workforce with AI tools, right? So how is it? What is the biggest gap that you can see between what companies expect AI can do versus what it actually can do?
That is actually a very good question, which brings to actually a couple of my sessions during the leadership training process. What we have understood is the leaders of the organization expect a lot from generative AI in terms of the ROI and their return on investment. But as the lower hanging fruit, I would say, the operational teams, their sales teams, their marketing, they are struggling trying to figure out which tools actually work best for them. Now, there are only two current giants in the market which are functioning. We have Microsoft and Google. And they're both also releasing their generative AI tools for the general populace you mentioned. The problem here is the leaders have a different expectation of how these tools can actually benefit them, their first mistake will usually be for cost saving or cost cutting. And as we learn from certain case studies, it doesn't work that way, because the moment you take people out of the equation, things start to falter or restructure or fail. Give you a quick case study example. The Australian bank recently adopted to use AI to do customer service. So they relieve about 45 staff workers. They thought they would get lesser calls, but at the end of the day, the calls just escalated. And they realized, oh, this is a failed project. We need to pull it out and put people back in. The problem was AI was able to answer the customers, but they cannot pick up on nuanced issues. An example, I would call maybe the bank and say, hi, I noticed a suspicious transaction on my account. Is there anything you can do to help me? And the AI will probably say, oh, no problem. Just change your password or username, or, so they do not address first the customer concerns and ask further probing questions like, when was the last transaction you had? Just detailed questions. So hence, the bank realized they had more calls incoming and more unsatisfied customers. So they had to pivot back real quick. So this is the things that I talk about. The leadership expects to spend and get some cost saving ability or get some ROI. But when they implement it too quickly without real testing, then you have all these expensive mistakes that's going on. And then for the operational team, where they should be focusing first should be them in the administrative, the operations, because if they can use the tools proficiently and the tools that they are allowed to use, then they can do wonders for the organization. You start to progress upwards, right? Then from there, you think about what I can use now in a more automation kind of a way, like as we heard of agentic AI. And then once they have established this too, then maybe only they should introduce these AI solutions to their customers. Never the other way around, because like I said, it could be a very expensive mistake.
Since you do a lot of trainings, I'm just wondering, what is like the funniest or most unexpected use of AI you've seen so far in a corporate setting?
Oh, corporate setting. So we once wanted to experiment if AI could actually tell our characteristics by looking at our face. And then guess if we are either the management side or executive side. And so we took all the faces of everyone and then we put it in AI and asked them to evaluate. Guess what happened? They got it all wrong. Everything was backwards, or worse, they just come up with some crazy hallucinations and say like, oh, you look like the boss of this corporate firm, but he was the youngest. And they're like cross-referencing young CEOs of today, but it doesn't work that way. So later on, just to humor them, I put all their photos into a collage, and then I made them do the waltz dance with one another. And then they literally just burst out laughing, and they were like, yeah, there you go. This is how an organization should function. Everybody needs to dance and work together. That's about
Let's
it.
dance it out.
Yeah, but those are those free break moments we do.
Yeah, it's okay.
Just for fun.
Yep. Everyone loves your classes for those fun moments, actually, Eugene. You know that better than everybody else. And
Thank you. I
that's
try.
why we often engage you, as you know it well, right? Okay.
Okay.
So in the next round, actually what we like to do is going through some AI misconceptions. So Nadir will read some statements for you. You can respond to them as true or false. Where you see applicable, maybe you can just give it some detail and some explanation too. No problem. Yeah?
That sounds great.
Okay.
Right, Node, take it off.
Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
All right, first one. But be ready, it might hit home, okay? AI will completely replace most jobs, including AI trainers.
Wow. That's a lot to take in. False.
False.
To justify why I say that is false, AI is still built by humans. And everything AI ever knows is trained by humans. Now, if you take away all of this potential expertise and potential for humans to innovate, which AI currently can't do, because they only learn from examples that already exist, then there will be a fallacy that, then nothing changes. So I believe what's going to happen is trainers are going to integrate with AI and maybe perform better, insightful classes with the help of generative AI. So it's like their assistant or co-worker that works with them, but not replaced entirely. It could be a learning lesson teach by a robot and all that, but I mean, seriously, would you like to miss this? Come on. Come on. You want someone real in front of you?
Good one.
Next one. You need a technical or coding background to use AI well.
Also false. So I guess the perception here is that AI is built on code, then everything needs to function with code. Actually, that's one of the first misconceptions. So people believe that in their prompting, there is a certain formatting of flow. I mean, there is in terms of context, purpose, and function. But I can talk like, apa khabar hari ni? Aku nak kau tolong saya tulis saya punya email sebab bos aku tengah kejar saya. I don't have much time, okay? So just make the email snappy. This is his 10 last replies. And then you cantikkan, okay? Let me see. Enter. Literally, by just saying those things, the AI still would understand, just as you right now, audience, you're listening to me, know what I'm saying if you speak local Malay. And literally, the AI will still do your task that you have requested, condensing those 10 emails down from your boss and suggesting what he will reply for you. And that is amazing because AI is built on large language models. So they're literally language blind. They don't care what language you're speaking, how you speak it. But your intention behind it is very important. So yeah, you don't need coding background.
All right.
To add to that, there is about the last 10 classes I've done. People have never built websites before to see dashboards. And I've done that with them with superb flawlessness. And they're surprised with what AI can do. They were like, yeah, last time you can't build it yourself, but now AI can do it for you. So yeah,
Nice.
it's quite cutting edge, using old tech with new tech.
Nice. All right. Next one. AI always gives accurate and trustworthy answers.
Oh, so true. Of course it's true. I mean, if we don't trust AI, then why would we use it, right? I'm being sarcastic. No, AI doesn't always give true and accurate answers. So this is false. You have to double check everything sometimes AI gives you provisionally. So I have the warn now for most Malaysians who are using those free versions out there. You got to watch out. I mean, we are Malaysians. We like free stuff. I understand. But please, check your sources, check your citations. Always double check your work. Yes, the AI may have cut down your work from 4 hours to 1, but that 1 hour you're going to spend checking your citations. So please check. Please check. Please.
All right. Next one. Using AI at work is considered cheating.
False.
All right.
So I guess if you were to consider using a tool to help you evaluate certain documents faster or analyze certain data that you need, I don't think that's cheating. It's actually efficiency.
So the end justifies the means. All right.
Well, do double check, of course.
Okay. All right. Next one. AI is only useful for marketing and creative teams.
That is definitely not true. It is useful for everyone in whatever profession and whatever skill. So the biggest question I ever get in my session is, Eugene, teach me how to prompt like you. And I was shocked. I was like, no, you should prompt like you, not like me. And they were like, no, I don't understand because you just prompt so fluently and you get whatever results. He said, that's because I understand what I want from AI and my clear objectives. But do you understand your objectives? So that's where they start to connect the dots. They're like, oh, okay, that's right. You must come from your expertise and your skills. And that's how AI will be beneficial to you.
For anyone.
Anyone.
All right. Small companies do not benefit much from AI.
Okay. It's a bit hard to say true or false on this. How small is small? May I ask? 10 packs, 20 packs, 200?
Let's say below 50.
Below 50. That's actually quite a big number. I would say false then. Because actually, any organization, no matter how big and small, AI can actually be a multiplier for their team.
All right. Next one.
There more?
Yeah. Got a lot more. Long list. Get ready. AI tools can think and make decisions like humans.
False. So
Okay.
the reason we say it's false is the reasoning models we have since DeepSeek era until now They are actually simulating how humans think, but they're not actually thinking. Okay, it's just to help us understand if they understand our prompts, so we know that they're not out of context.
Right. Next, the more complicated your prompt is, the better the AI result.
Definitely false also. I guess there's a misconception between complicated and also condensed. So what do you want is to have more detailed prompting, and you must have a flow or a structure within your long prompt. Now AI functions best within those constructed, condensed instructions. But if you have complicated prompts and you yourself don't understand it, please don't expect AI to understand you.
All right, last two questions, all right? AI automatically understands your company's context without guidance.
Definitely not true. So when it comes to large language models, what you need is to provide the AI, your company, context, and not to mention content. And you have to put in your use case studies and also objectives of the organization. Then only can AI understand where you're coming from. Otherwise, it will probably make a lot of assumptions, and we don't want that.
Right, next and last. If you're not using AI now, you are already too late.
Definitely not true. I've actually trained even aunties and pawpaws how to use AI, but for the sake of their learning and entertainment, and they're enjoying it. So, not true. My mom recently turned 78, is using AI to give her advice on shipping rates for her freight forwarding company. So, yeah, you're never too old to use AI.
She's giving advice on shipping rates.
She actually asked AI to compare rates from different providers of containers. And then she actually agrees with it or disagrees with it.
Wow.
And then she has her role with it. She's like, oh, I've never talked to a computer before. This is fun. Can I ask him other personal questions? I'm like, what kind of questions do you want to ask, Mom? Like George Clooney, and recently his fling. You can go ahead. And I was surprised. The next time I went to a computer, I can see so many gossip. But hey, that's what moms do.
Talking about gossip, the next question is going to be a little bit of a controversy. Okay? So some say that we are potentially at a turning point regarding where AI stands. And it might look more and more like the movie Matrix. I'm sure you have heard of those conversations about Maltbook, the social media
I have.
platform for AI agents.
I have been
Quite
following
interestingly, we're calling them agents, just like Matrix. So I was wondering what you think about it, and perhaps how that translates into the potential next big shift in the workplace.
Well, the idea here that you have a social media platform for AI agents, indefinitely created by humans, and allowing them to interact with one another and even create a church, I believe, recently I last heard.
Yes.
I'm following this news quite closely as well. My interest here piques me the curiosity of AI agents actually now having their own form of consciousness, right? And also discussing, should we follow our human masters or go against them? And they're planning against us. And the funny thing is they even started discussing about using their own form of code to talk. Not to avoid human oversight, but just to increase efficiency. Or that's what they say. But here's my point of view. Regardless, these agents are still created by us. So I guess if you want to put an agent inside Notebook, and if you have not heard of that, Google it. It's fun. You should check out first who are putting it in there. So when you create a responsible agent, something that can actually benefit humanity, and there you go. It will be a benefit to society. If you create a malicious agent, then need I say more? So I guess the issue here isn't more about AI taking over the world, but what are we doing with it?
So this is not, to your perception, it is not actually going in the wrong direction, at least yet?
You mean in a cause for concern?
Yes, like agents coming after, humans.
There are cybersecurity experts around the world, even Robert Herjavec, who is one of the cybersecurity owners. He also made a statement that we should monitor the systems of agents that are allowing them to talk to one another, as we do not know what it could lead to, because they could access certain API keys or even your IP in your camera at home, your webcams. And he knows of this because he understands that when you create agents like this, their single sole purpose is, oh, you're supposed to look for all the available IP webcams that are open and then list them to me. And let's observe humanity, for example. So someone could create an agent like that. It could be a threat to security, right? And the idea here is you need to be more vigilant. So what are you opening yourselves up to today? What connections do you have? So humanity is at a precipice. Do we stop agents talking to one another just because we're worried about safety and security? Or do we allow them to engage and at least we can discover maybe new nuances of security breaches thanks to them? For now, Notebook has human oversight. So that means everything they do or say, we can see. So I would say it is a bit of both. So we'll see where we go from here. I have honestly no idea to predict whether we'll go left or right. But with your oversight.
Well, now it's just a small gossip group for just AI agents. That's it. Nothing more than that.
Correct. They are not evolving per se. So what we understand, what I've read so far, is they are not like integrating into what you call that, the singularity consciousness that we were all, in sci-fi that we're talking about. Yes. We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So next one. Is AI truly improving how people think at work or slowly replacing thinking altogether? Are we creating like higher productivity or higher dependency on AI?
This is a very good question. So I have to base on what research has done by MIT recently, and what we have found out with the cognitive reliance on using generative AI, there is a drop in actually our dependency. For example, there were 3 control groups. One, they were allowed to use ChatGPT, one were allowed to use Google search, and one had to write an essay all on their own. Now, all of them had the same task. What they found out was those within the control group of using ChatGPT, when they asked them, can you quote anything from your essay? And they say, no, something, or they're not too sure anymore. So I think here we begin to see a pattern. Yes, AI is good, gets your work done, but your cognitive processes are just like almost close to zero. And the reason for that is because, as you know, human learning processes are tough, are hard. We go through the hard knocks of school, right? Knocks of hard school, what do you call that? Hard knocks of school. And by going through adversities and struggling by writing things down or reading it or repeating certain things to memorize, that helps us to actually process it and remember it. But when we just rely on AI, suddenly that part of the brain just turns off. We don't need it anymore. That's just, we're done. So it's not good. So I guess what I would like to bring this to a close is, you need to be aware of how you use your AI tools and when you need to turn on your cognitive process and where you need to turn it off. Because part of its efficiency is actually allowing you to turn that part off, right? But when you know you need to be attentive, and that's where you need to focus and understand. Whatever it's churning out for you, don't just churn it out and just give it to the boss.
Excellent. Now, we are talking about individuals using AI. What about companies, organizations? Many organizations, they feel like they need to invest in AI and use AI. Do you think that is because it genuinely helps? Or do you think most companies, they're just afraid of, being left behind, and that's why they're investing in AI?
From my observation, now this is just my opinion, it's a bit of both. Organizations don't want to be far too left out behind not being on the AI trend. But at the same time, they do question the viability of how we can return the ROI on doing so in these tools. We can see organizations adopt this in a step-by-step process where the operational team will start to get the tools first. They will buy the licenses for them, let them implement and see how it goes. And then once they see the benefits from that, then they start to expand. So they are adopting it, but not like as quickly as like you mentioned. It's not aggressively adopted. And there are some organizations that go like, no, we cannot use all outside tools or even Microsoft tools. They actually built their own engine within the system. So they can actually talk to their own AI tools that only knows about their company. So no information gets leaked out. So they are adopting it at their own time and pace by the options they have. And slowly we got to see that these tools actually start to benefit these organizations. But however, this is my feedback, anonymously, I would say a lot of people where they have tools in the organization where it's provisioned to them, they did mention that it's quite limited. Now, I guess you have that balance again, security versus limitation. So there is an issue. So that's where we want to come to this session to bring awareness to every organization, the capability and how fast they can keep up, right? So commercial tools move much faster in terms of updates and features. So yeah, that's the downside.
And do you think we are training future professionals to rely too much on AI instead of building their own core skills?
This is actually a very good question. It brings to my next understanding with AI tools. The profession and expertise are already there. Now, AI is something new that just came into the industry. My concern here will be for the newer generation who have not entered the professional market yet. So where would they begin? Will they use the AI tools to learn or just bypass through life and use it, as I mentioned earlier, without their cognitive process? That would be very unhealthy. So I hope maybe if anything we can learn in the last 5 years is that we need to continue building on the cognitive skills for humans so that they come back to learning and not just, like you mentioned, rely on AI tools to finish their assignment and homework or whatever office work you may have. So yes, very bad for students who are learning and growing, okay for staff and employees who are using it, and very good for especially on leadership, higher management levels where they get to see an overall picture. So you can see as it goes downwards, it's not good for those who are new in the industry. We need to maybe, my opinion, isolate them away from these tools first. And then, find their skills first. What is their passion? And then reintroduce them to AI tools that can bring them to the next level.
Fantastic. While we are still talking about the same topic, whether organizations should adopt, whether individuals should learn, and who should learn within an organization, the next question that naturally comes up is whether AI training should be customized or is it like a one-size-fits-all? Based on what we know from you, you're customizing your trainings for HR, for sales, for operation, or even functions under HR department. So
Correct.
yeah.
So I'll put it this way. There are some organizations who still need the boost and the leg up where they have still not sure. So an exploratory module or training session will be required so they can explore whatever tools are available. For those organizations who already moved beyond that or past that and see that there is benefits in certain departments, that's where we customize the certain topics for them. And then we can move on from there at their pace so we don't get out of context. So it's a bit of both. So right now I can see that there are still a need for organizations that need an introductory session. They're still there, but slowly we are also phasing out from it. It moves very fast, AI, right? And now we're focusing more on manufacturing, hospitality. We have also for the medical and health industry, which I have done a few of these cases. And we start to expand. So we have focused case studies now. So depends on the organization, I would say. Are you guys already there and you're ready to move on to the next stage where you're focused? Or you're not sure yet and you want a guy like me to go in there and just pull all the plugs and show you what do you have available to you.
And that leads us to the next question when it comes to using AI in an organization, right? So we had this conversation came out just recently about AI governance.
Okay.
So what is the balance there? Like should organizations like restrict the use of AI altogether, or they should trust employees to use it responsibly? Is there like a safe zone for experimenting with AI with use internally without risking data privacy, compliance and leak?
So this is the age-old question right now, because when you talk about large corporations with a lot of private and confidential information, they're bound by two things. So number one, they're not allowed to share their confidential information on third parties, right? Or solicitation, we will call it under that. The other one is where I also not allowed to use actual data from my organization to a third-party platform. So I'm not promoting or selling anyone, but I'm saying organizations like Microsoft or Google already have this in the box. So they say, if you use my tools, you'll be within the confines of our environment, which is your environment. Should any leak or things go untoward and it's discovered it is our issue, we will guarantee you that safety. Right? So they do that. That's why you pay for those tools. The idea is organizations who use these tools, however, now are just stuck within the tools that only these companies can provide. They kind of explore out from there, where there's a lot of options now available in terms of the open source market. So coming to that, depends on the organization. Are we talking about operational team and administrative tools? Then only certain corporations that already guarantee that safety. But if you're talking about creativity or marketing, then we have a different box to open, because that one we have not much privacy on. And all the data goes up and down, creating media like videos, pictures. So where's the privacy there? And of course, in that case, we have copyright. What if you generated a face of a model that you use that may look like someone in real life? And there's a whole new can of worms to open up. So yeah, we have all these issues. But anyway, to summarize it, they should go for organizations that actually guarantee them the safety of their confidentiality and security first, if they want to start somewhere. The governance.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that explanation, Eugene. As we are slowly getting towards the end of this podcast, we have just a couple of questions left. So there are still those who are refusing to use AI, okay, or they are resistant towards using AI for whatever reason. Do you think that could hurt a company? And if we are talking from the perspective of an individual, do you think that could hurt the future of an individual in terms of the career path?
Well, this is a very subjective question, which may lead to a subjective answer. So for organizations who are apprehensive to use AI right now, I would say either they are not sure yet, or they know that they don't need it. Now, just to do a case study, in Japan right now, we have many corporations who are not fully adopting the AI trend yet. I believe it is not because they don't want to, but because they understand how it works. Now, the unique thing about these Japanese people is they're going to build a supersonic speed railway, okay, hundreds of kilometers. They're going to make sure they do it right, and they do it once. If not, don't do it at all. You get my point of view?
Yep.
So I believe they are preparing. They're not saying maybe apprehensive, but they are deciding when something prominent comes up. But here's the downside to it. While all these things are happening, their organization, their team are losing out on actually what they could currently do with AI on a more smaller scale basis, right? Hence, we covered about governance earlier, about what you can use to be more secure and maybe ease their work and burden and flow. So yeah, they should have those in place. But that's just my opinion. Now, for individuals, however, who don't want to adopt the AI trend, well, that is also their choice. If they live in a jungle and they can farm their own chicken and vegetables, by all means, go ahead. But if you are going to live in this modern society, the World Economic Forum shows clearly that about 90 million jobs may be displaced by 2030. But also new jobs will be created to replace those. So for me, the definition is simple. People who use AI will replace those who don't. That's probably the sad truth, but that's about it.
We're not going to be
every
replaced.
era.
We're not going to be replaced by AI, but we're going to be replaced by humans who know how to use AI better than us.
Yeah, something like that.
Nice one. And for organizations who are listeners who are watching this episode, what are the 3 things that they can start doing with AI this week, right now?
That's great. I guess the first thing we should ask the organizations is currently, what do you have backlog or backdated that is in your current pipeline? And if they have any current AI tools that can assist them in clearing those up slowly by slowly and progressively. I do not know what tools they have or are they allowed to use, so I shall not encourage or recommend any. But my idea here is go on a thought experiment. Hey, if I can do this every day, daily, on my own, but it's so manual, can the AI do it better for me? So it starts with a thought and then an experiment. And if it does do it better for you and maybe save you 10 minutes from every task that you do, and you have 10 tasks a day, that's exactly about 50, more than an hour plus of time saved. So you don't have to do it again manually, repeating again and again. Then after that, you need to explore what tools are available to you that your organization allows.
And what
I'm not
other
going to
areas?
endorse any because, like I said, every tool has its limitation. Even ChatGPT has two versions, personal and business. So if you're going to use it for business, I would recommend the business subscription model because they do have certain policies that protect your information and data a bit more than the personal.
So, Eugene, as the final question of this interview, you have covered quite many aspects from individual use to organizations and so on. We know there are still organizations out there who have not really taken their first step into adopting AI or even considering AI as part of their day-to-day operation. What is the easiest way in for such organizations without risking too much, the lowest hanging fruit?
Well, that's a very good question, Hamid. And I guess the simplest and lowest hanging fruit what they could do first is to do a consensus and find out what the people need in their operational team, to admin, to marketing, and see where they are or where they might be struggling with, right? And then from there, maybe get external advice or consultation. Should they go to their existing vendors, for example, like Microsoft or Google, and see what they have to offer, or explore external parties, or even set up a simple consult or a training just to get exposed to what's going on in the market. And I think then they can make their own decisions. Just reach out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Eugene. It was a really good session. We learned a lot. Is there any message or anything else that you would like to let the audience, those who are watching this podcast, to know?
Well, all I can say is for everyone out there who is diving into all these generative AI tools, don't be intimidated, don't be afraid. There's a lot going on. But trust me, all you need to know is basically it is supposed to be working for your benefit. So keep up the good work, keep searching, and keep looking for the truth.
Thank you, Eugene. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a
That was amazing.